Happy Friday. So, a lot of people come to me as a coach, or they come to my channel because they're interested in how to pick up on women, right? That's what they're interested in. You know, they want to improve their ability to get pretty women. And so they come for my advice. And then there's a lot of information out there on pickup, game, books, YouTube videos, all kinds of stuff on pickup artistry, picking up on women, all right? Well, a lot of the pickup material that's out there, well, I'll be real about it. It's really kind of douchebaggy. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of weak-ass males running around out there trying to get chicks. There isn't anything more douchebaggy than chasing after women, to be honest with you. All right? So, an alpha dominant male who was wanting to make his mark on the earth, all right, wanting to make his mark in the world, who's driven towards his purpose, isn't a fucking douchebag chasing around a bunch of women like a weak lost puppy, placating to them. In fact, there's a video that was brought to my attention on pickup, so I just checked it out. And they, this is day pickup, and they start immediately with a compliment. I think it was, you look really good today, or I had to stop you because you looked really good today. Like, that was the compliment. Yeah, you might as well hold her purse. You're gonna run up to some girl you don't know who's pretty and tell her how pretty she is. You don't think she fucking hears how pretty she is all day long? You don't think she sees right through that shit? You don't think she gets that all the time? You don't think she opens up her Facebook to a list of likes and thirsty beta males pining for her attention, opens up her instant message box to a series of potential dick pics and hey girl and you hot and what you up to and all that bullshit from weak ass males who don't know how to talk to, communicate, or connect with women, who want to tell her how pretty she is in order to get sex from her eventually, right? You don't think she knows? She's been dealing with that since she was probably 12 years old, all right? But you're going to run up to her and tell her how pretty she is, and that's going to work for you? All right, maybe after you do that to 100 girls, 1 or 2, maybe 5 or 10 will give you a phone number after 100. Maybe one weak-ass woman will sleep, one low-value chick will sleep with you. Is that what you want? All right. You got to ask yourself what kind of man you want to be. You want to be a weak-ass man who's running out there chasing low-value tail? Or do you want to be a man who's on his purpose in life and makes an impact? Because a man who makes an impact is going to pick up a high-value woman. He's going to pick up a high-value woman because he makes himself a high-value male. And so that's my first suggestion for any sort of pickup. I'm very good at coaching people through this, but I don't do it in such a way where I have them chasing tail 24/7 or running out and bothering girls who don't want to be bothered in the middle of the day or in a nightclub or whatever, going for the easy marks that are, 6 out of 10s and drunk at some bar. I mean, you can get laid like that, sure. But then what? Right? When you get to a point in life where it's easy to get laid, where you know and you're confident that if you wanted to get laid, even if it was just by a drunk 6 on a Wednesday, you could go out just about anywhere and get laid by a drunk 6, then it changes your perspective. When you have an abundance with women and you don't getting a halfway decent looking girl to sleep with you isn't a challenge, then you start looking for more meaning in life than that, right? Because that starts and ends with one toxic drunken interaction. Maybe you'll have fun here, maybe it'll be a one-night stand, maybe it'll be a 10-night stand. But then what, right? Just keep going, plugging along that way. I guess that's not what you can do. I'm going to suggest something a little bit different, okay? So when I coach on how to pick up on women and we talk about body language, this is what would be with individual clients. I'm not going to cover this stuff in a video, at least not yet, not here, okay? But first thing I'm doing is I'm focusing on a man to be an actual man, not to chase after women like a little bitch, okay? All right, she should be wanting your attention after a point, not you chasing them. All right, so you stay on your purpose, you be a high value man, and you start making your impact in the world. You start looking the part, taking care of your health, and taking care of your mindset and doing the behaviors that would make you a high value male. This by itself is going to make you do better with women, okay? Then we can work on confidence issues, approach anxiety if you have it, different things like that. But if we're talking about approaching and picking up, I'm not talking about just getting you laid. I get it, you want to get laid. I understand that. Okay? But that is a very surface level goal. Take it from experience, okay? Not just me being me, but me knowing other people who get very good at this. It's a very empty existence just to be good at getting laid and not to be able to get anywhere else necessarily with that, okay? It's not a hard goal to achieve, and you're really not going many places in that, but you will have a good time, no question. But if that's the only thing you're focused on, it's really a recipe for disaster, to quite honestly, and you might not like yourself if that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because you could end up being like that douchebag guy that you see at the bars and clubs or middle of the day, and you think that's a douchebag guy, and you end up being that guy. Okay? You don't want to be that guy if you're just chasing pussy. All right? Pussy should be interested in you. You shouldn't be running around chasing it. So now that being said, well, then what's the purpose of game then? What's the purpose of pickup? Why learn these skill sets? Well, these skill sets are actually what you're learning is communication. And that you're communicating to a female. You're communicating to her instinctual brain, her hindbrain, her mammalian brain, that primitive, primal brain, part of her brain that triggers arousal and attraction. You're communicating to that part of her brain through your behavior and through your actions, through your words, through your tone of your voice, how you position yourself with her, how you make eye contact, don't make eye contact, how your body moves with her, even just in the context of a basic conversation in a basic meeting. Okay, now that translates to dating and multiple dates, and translates to long-term relationships, can translate to a forever relationship. You're going to need to know how to communicate with your woman, okay? If you get married and you stay with one woman the rest of your life, and you have that monogamous life, which is great, by the way, all right? You do that, you still have to know how to communicate with her. And the way you communicate as a male isn't the same as how she communicates as a female, especially sexually, especially when we're talking about attraction and arousal. And the relationship you have with a female, whether it's just an initial attraction and potential date later, okay, the initial pickup, or whether it's a long-term relationship for a number of years, it's an emotional exchange for her. It's passing through her parts of her brain that are her unconscious and her primal parts, but also through her emotional centers before it ever reaches that logical point. How she's going to logically think about you is going to all depend on how she feels about you. This is why you'll have, in the honeymoon phase, a woman or, girls who are high emotion for some douchebag they're with, and everyone knows the guy's trash. She'll defend him and, try to focus on how good he is and this or that, and he's really smart though because he did this and he did that. The guy's a low value male, of course, hasn't done jack shit, but she settled with this guy, and she, at this point that she's talking about him, has high emotion for him. And so what does she do? She reasons, rationalize how great he is, and she'll tell you all about how great he is. And when you're sitting there listening to it, knowing the guy's a complete douchebag, right? But then let's say 6 months later, when honeymoon phase wears off and the guy continues to be a douchebag and her emotions wear off, what happened? Now she starts talking about the guy, maybe in an excessively negative way. Maybe she's saying things about him that aren't even true that are negative, but because she's so fed up with him and emotionally detached and angry with him that she doesn't see now any value in that guy. So the same guy she was defending 6 months prior, now she's talking about all the problems and presenting him, or trying to not presenting him in as positive of a light, we'll say, right? And then of course whatever happens after that, maybe they break up, who knows. But you've seen it a million times, right? The exchange you have with your female is an emotional exchange. The way she thinks about you, how she talks about you, whether she honors you or not, has everything to do with her emotions. Which is, by the way, why you need to pick emotionally stable women, because emotionally unstable women will, go from, it'll be a bipolar exchange of she's happy, she hates you, she loves you, and it could tear apart your self-concept being with somebody who's emotionally unstable. But I digress. Anyway, it is an emotional exchange, right? So you have to communicate to that. As males, we're not used to communicating to someone's emotional centers. We're not used to communicating to somebody's, certainly not their primal arousal centers either, right? So that's what game and pickup is. It's communicating to those centers of the brain. Whether you just meet somebody or whether you, are in a long-term relationship, it's a skill set you need. And it's not about just getting somebody to do something, get them to sleep with you. Guess what? She already decided whether or not she wants to sleep with you or not from the second she met you. The only thing that matters at that point is if you fuck it up or not. All right? And of course, if she has barriers, her hindbrain may decide she wants to sleep with you, but maybe she's actually in a relationship, and then, she actually has morals and principles, so her forebrain says, no, I can't, you know what I mean? And then she puts barriers up, which is fine. That's what a good woman should do, right? But regardless, she already makes that decision. Nature makes the decision for you. You don't have to, do a dancing monkey show to get her to want to sleep with you. She already wants to, or doesn't, depending on how how she responds to you from an initial meeting. So what is it about then? It's about a connection. Okay? So when I talk about pickup and game, your goal is not to sleep with a woman. Sleeping with women will happen. Okay? You should get to a point where you are turning down more pussy than what's being offered. And you're narrowing it down to what you want, not just, sleeping indiscriminately with women because have a scarcity mindset, you know what I mean? And you're not sure, if they're going to be there next week or whatever. You should be able to narrow it down to who you want to actually sleep with, not just sleeping with women because you need to get laid. Okay? So if you're good at this and you're good at this type of communication, looks help, but you really only need to be a 5 and up SMV looks wise. If you know how to communicate in this way, you're going to resonate to that hindbrain, and you're just going to have an abundance of options. You should be saying no, or at least putting barriers up before it goes too far, way more often than you're saying yes, if you're in the right spot. So what is it about then if it's not about getting laid? Like I said in the comments, it's about making a connection with people. What is life, right? It's accomplishing things, it's doing things of value, but what else? We're social animals. We connect with people. We connect with our male friends when we go out and we talk about shit and do shit with our male friends. Well, we can connect with females as well. That's part of enjoying life, is connecting with a female. Not necessarily in a sexual way all the time, but just making that connection. And when you can communicate with a woman, you can make deeper and better connections with women. There's a lot more women that will respect you. You'll have more respect for them. You'll even communicate with your mom and your aunt and family members, even though it's a non-sexual communication. You'll even communicate with other women in your life better if you understand the basics and nuances of game, so to speak. Game is really just communicate. Game is a slang term in the pickup, artist community, but all it really is a communication. It's learning to communicate with women in a way where you make a connection with them. So whether you're just platonically friends with them, because you've suspended, I've talked about in other videos, you've suspended that seed spreading strategy as a male and you've just chosen to be a friend with a female, okay, you can make a connection in that platonic manner, and it's more meaningful than if you don't know how to communicate on a hindbrain, unconscious, and emotional level, right? And so this could be with anybody, your bank teller, the person that you need to get some administrative work done with at your medical facility, your family members, or someone you're interested in dating, okay? You communicate on different levels. It's not just the way you communicate as a man, but you communicate to their emotional centers and to their hindbrain and to their primal centers and attraction centers if it's someone you are interested in with a female. And when you can communicate at that level, you'll make connections that are valuable, and it makes living and being on this earth valuable. You'll meet strangers that'll tell you things about themselves that they don't tell their best friend. You'll meet people that will connect with you, and they'll get something of value out of you and offer something of value to you and enhance your life, even just as a perfect stranger that maybe you're not even interested in sleeping with, but a random person that you exchange a small drink and a conversation with just on a random meeting. These are the things that are important. So when you can communicate on this level, I urge you, for any of you that actually coach with me or want advice from me on pickup, dating, games, stuff like that, that your goal isn't just to get laid. You're going to do you, okay? So I can't control your behavior. But getting laid is the easy part. It really is. When you're making deep connections with people, even on initial meetings, some will be deeper than others because some you'll just connect better than others, right? But when you're making these connections, then, getting quality sex with someone that you have a good connection with is par for the course, okay? Versus random pickup artist sex from the drunk six at 2 a.m. that, basically the the roulette wheel has stopped, the lights came on, and there you two are, and now you're going to have bad sex with a drunk person, right? That's not very meaningful. And if you have a lot of sexual options, well, I'll tell you from a personal standpoint, that's not even interesting to me. All right? So be a high-value male. Don't chase pussy. All right? Chase excellence. But work on your communication and work on how to communicate with females, because it's going to help you in every aspect of your life. And they're going to appreciate you a lot more for it, I promise you that. All right? And make those deep connections, because it's going to make your life a lot better. All right. Well, I guess I should go be social now for the rest of my Friday evening. I got a pretty full weekend planned, and I'm pretty happy about that. Hopefully you do too. Go enhance your life, make connections, have fun. Thanks for tuning in.